Namaskar, good evening. You are watching PM eVidya channels and NCERT's official YouTube channel. This is our webinar session in which we talk about ICT tools. But now we are doing some series on Tuesdays and Thursdays especially because this is the time when we recognize our real heroes, our ICT awardees. So today we are going to meet someone who is a ICT awardee. I would like to invite and introduce Ms. Janice Jacob. She is a National ICT Awardee 2010 from Kendriya Vidyalaya, Thrissur, Kerala. Ms. Janice, namaskar and a very warm welcome in the session. You make our life easy, you make our life interesting because our content is interesting, interactive, just because of the usage of the softwares which our awardees are explored for us. Thank you very much. You have, you made some time for this session. So I would like to start with this on a happy note that all our viewers can connect with you and talk to you if they have any question. 8800440559. This is the telephone number and email ID is training@ciet.nic.in. So Ms. Jacob, now the session is all yours. I would like to know your journey because this is the journey of a National ICT Awardee session. Please go ahead.
Thank you so much. Thank you for those kind words, and I'm so happy the way you introduced me. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. It is my pleasure, and it is really our treasure for us to know about you and your journey.
Okay, thank you so much. And I would like to also thank CIET for choosing me as a speaker for today's webinar.
Right.
Yeah, thank
all
you
right,
so much.
Please.
Yeah. So let me get started with my presentation. I hope my voice and my presentation is clear to everyone and the audience as well.
Yes, please.
Thank you so much. Okay. So let me get into the presentation of today's webinar and the very brief overview of what it is going to be and what the audience can expect in today's webinar. I'm going to touch upon how I actually got started with ICT and how I integrate ICT into the projects that I do, and how I use ICT tools in remote learning, because now since we are more into remote learning than face-to-face, and the way forward, that would be the last point that I would touch upon.
Okay.
Yes. Let me begin from my schooling. My schooling was entirely in Kendriya Vidyalayas, and mainly it was in the northern and the northeastern parts of our country. And I had a very brief schooling at Chennai towards the end of my schooling. I have done my triple majors in CVZ and I've done my masters in zoology. I strongly believe that schooling remains instrumental in what an individual becomes later in life. So I give a lot of importance to the school, every individual that goes into, schooling that the individual goes into, and I'm very proud to be a KVN. So 12 years in KV as a student and 25 years I've completed as a teacher in Kendriya Vidyalaya. Now, getting into the expertise or the skills that I have, I'm a national level resource person in ICT. I've been trained in project-based learning. I train teachers in training programs like the in-service courses, the workshops and conferences. I am also a Fulbright scholar. So that's a brief about the skills that I have. Now, getting into the schools that I worked in, my first you can say the initial years in KVS was in the year 1996, and I joined Kendriya Vidyalaya number 1 Port Blair, that is in Andaman and Nicobar Islands. Now, when I talk about ICT, the knowledge of ICT that I had in those years was absolutely zero. I did not know anything about how to start a computer or do anything in computing. And I did not see anyone else also using these devices during those times in the school or anywhere else. So the use was very limited during those years of 96 to 98 tenure that I spent in number 1 Port Blair in Andaman and Nicobar Islands. And then I was transferred to between 1998 to 2004. I was at Kendriya Vidyalaya number 1 Palakkad, and that is in Kerala. It is for the viewers. Now, the first interaction with technology was here way back in 2000, and that was a program started by KVS with the help of Intel. And that was mass training of teachers for the use of basic technology in education and basic use of technology in teaching. So that is when I really got started with presentation. Till then I didn't know what a presentation was, how to work on docs and Excel and those spreadsheets and things like that. So it was 2000, the year 2000, when I really got started with using technology with a very basic stuff that I could, learn during those years. And then coming to my present school, I have been here for quite some time, and now I'm in KV Thrissur, that is also in Kerala. And as I said, I have completed 25 years in KVS. And during these years, I have attended a number of workshops, professional development courses, conferences, training programs, and that has helped me to, integrate technology in classroom teaching and learning. And at this point, I would like to thank my own organization, that is Kendriya Vidyalaya Sangathan, that gives ample opportunities to all teachers to undergo professional development courses and to update update the teachers with the latest happenings in the field of education. So participating in these trainings actually got me started bringing in my ICT knowledge, whatever little I knew in my daily teaching and learning classes. Coming to the coming to the ICT training, the use of basic technology in education was with KVS together with Intel. As I've already told you, the year was 2000, and that was the first ICT training that I really had. And the second one was also a major one, which was a training in project-based learning. That was again by KVS together with Oracle. Now, Oracle actually taught us to incorporate ICT tools into the project-based learning. So that was also a major training program that I underwent along with the other teachers who were chosen for the same. And then I took up some courses on my own that were available online in Google and in Microsoft. Then I also completed the induction course by CIET that made me the certified key resource person for the course on ICT in education. I strongly believe that no learning is as effective as a self-driven one. It's only then, we would explore new ways of technology integration and use of ICT on a daily basis. And, ICT is something that you should use on a daily basis so as to make you at ease with it, and you can use it, like an expert in whichever way you want. So these are the two ones, the basic ones, and then what I have gone through, that is the CIET training and the Microsoft and the Google and some tech classes at Arizona State University also. Then coming to the projects that I've done in the past and the present, and this why I'm showing you is to show how I integrated ICT into the project-based learning. I have just put in a list of projects which I have done. I have done some more, but I am showing you only the major ones which went on for some time in my school and which were recognized at the national and at various platforms, national level and at the international level as well. So the year and the year of the project is also mentioned so as to be clear as how it was in the timeline. So when it comes to the timeline, so here it is, the timeline of all the projects that I have done, the major ones, which actually helped me to integrate a lot of ICT into the projects that I did. So from year 2007-8 onwards, you can see in the timeline the major projects which were taken up by me, incorporating ICT into the project-based learning that I did with my students. Now, at this point of time, I would like to mention about ThinkQuest. ThinkQuest was an educational website created in 1996, and it was intended for the primary and the secondary school students. Now, ThinkQuest was a website which assisted students and teachers to create web-based projects and collaborate with peers globally. And it was I think at the beginning of 2002 when Oracle Education Foundation owned the ThinkQuest, and it was renamed as Oracle ThinkQuest. Now, all schools in KVs were part of this Oracle ThinkQuest, and they were the member of this website. And I was one of the admins of the ThinkQuest in my school. So I was responsible for the registration of the teachers and more than 1,500 students in my school in this website. And I was also responsible for training the teachers in using the interactive tools that were available on ThinkQuest and to create pages on it. So this is how ThinkQuest trained us in project-based learning and made us incorporate ICT tools into the project that we did with our students. And at this point of time, I would like to say that Oracle trained the teachers to bring in the student-centered method of learning, incorporating tech tools for developing 21st century skills among children. Also, it gave importance to copyright. The students were taught not to copy and copy things that were available on net. They were taught about the cyber safety and privacy and the etiquettes that they had to follow, and then also the fair use of internet. So all these things were taught along with the project-based learning, and that training took place by Oracle and KVS for the teachers. So at this point of time, I was really happy to receive a certificate of appreciation under School Leadership Program. The year was 2007-8. Though it might look insignificant for the viewers, but for me it was a real motivation because the certificate of appreciation was given for the pages created by me on Oracle ThinkQuest. So this was, I would call it as the stepping stone towards what had to, what followed after.
Right.
So this was, so this was a kind of encouragement for me.
Yes, yes. Appreciation gives you encouragement.
Yes, yes. Yeah, so though it was a very small thing, like a small child,
right.
Yeah.
As we get strawberry chocolate, right?
Yes, yes. We get a kind of chocolate, or we get some small token from our teacher. We get the students get happy. So this was for a kind of encouragement for me, and that really got me started. The next year, me and my students took up a project titled "Are You Eating Right?" Now, this project was started to bring about an awareness among the student community about the importance of eating right. Now, it was a 3-month project involving the entire school community, and we collaborated with some experts like a dietitian from AIMS New Delhi, an oncologist from the US, and a pediatrician from the local hospitals. They were brought in and to make our projects more genuine. And the project went on for a few months with some awareness given to the students on how to eat healthy and how it helps us in keeping our body fit and healthy. Good food leads to good health. So that project was chosen as the spotlight project for the month by ThinkQuest, and we were really very happy because we went a little up further. And the project was published in the newspaper. This was the Hindu Young World of March 10th, 2009. And the picture that you see is a picture of a healthy food rainbow created by the students. They also made it with real fruits and vegetables, and we gave an awareness on eating more of fruits and vegetables, which the children do not like. Fruits they still eat, but vegetables they do not. So this was also, the spotlight, being chosen for the spotlight category of projects was again a motivation for us. And the next year we started another project. The name of the project was Club Philately. Now in Club Philately, what we did was, we know that stamp collection is a very common hobby among children and even among adults. Yes. Along with the stamps, they also collect coins. So we thought of using this hobby as a learning activity, and this also was a mass kind of participation was there among the students, and an exhibition was organized. Children and teachers took part with their own collection of stamps and coins. Even the stamps were also exhibited. And that year we took part in the ThinkQuest international competition, and though we did not win any prizes, but we could get into the library of ThinkQuest. Because that was possible only when we do not have anything that was a copyright material, or if we have not copied anything from the internet. That means if we have not violated anything, copyright violation was not there, we would enter into the ThinkQuest library. And 2 of our projects, both the previous one, Are You Eating Right, and Club Philately, entered the International Library of ThinkQuest. So again, we were a little step higher to what we were before. And then came the Tagore Mohotsav. Again, it was celebrated by Oracle at the national level. It was the commemoration of 150th birth anniversary of Sri Rabindranath Tagore. and a good number of competitions were organized at various levels. And I'm so happy that we had a national level winner among my students. There was one child who was a national level winner, and we could win at the national level, we could win a prize. So again, we were going a little step further, getting more and more motivated and encouraged for the things that we were doing, and we were improving upon what we had done before. Then next, by July 1st, 2013, the ThinkQuest initiative was discontinued. But I was happy in the 4 years, we had 3 projects in the International Library of Oracle, and we had 1 spotlight project, and we had 1 national level achievement in these 4 years. So 2013, though ThinkQuest was discontinued, we were happy with our progress and our achievement, and we kept our spirits high to participate further in whichever event or whichever opportunity that came across. And the next year, I started another project titled Flying High. Now, this project was dealt with an environmental issue. This was a focus was on the environmental issue of dwindling number of birds. Now, we all know that birds are important indicators of our planet's health, and their numbers are reducing, their numbers are decreasing by the day. And so we have to do something in order to protect them, in order to protect our planet Earth, and to protect ourselves. So with that learning, the project just went on for a long time. It was intended for 5 months. It went on for 6 to 8 months, and then we did a number of activities, like we collaborated with some experts, we collected some materials related to birds. We had an exhibition. You can see this is a picture of an exhibition exhibiting all the artifacts. Then we released a book, and we collected feathers of some of the rare birds also. There was collaboration from Singapore. There's a bird park at Singapore called the Jurong Bird Park. We collaborated with some visitors when there. We collaborated with some bird experts like the Kerala State ornithologist. We also collaborated with Mohammad Dilawar, who is also known as the Birdman of India, according to the Time magazine. And here you can see we had Nukkad Natak and role plays in order to bring in awareness.
Yes.
Awareness.
So that you may increase the participation of the students.
Yes. It was, I guess the whole school participated, and they all appreciated the work done by, very small children. Now, what you see is major project members were from class 3. So what it goes to show is even small children are also not really small. They have...
Agreed. And I think, and I feel that you have selected the wonderful name, Flying High. I think this is the chapter in our EVS book. Class 5th, if I am right.
Yes, you're right.
Right. So it is wonderful to connect with them to the book, to the chapter they are reading in their classes, and all and around. If we have a class 8th of student or 7th of student, so they know there is a chapter called Flying High we have read in the class 5th. So it is really wonderful to connect with them, with their books, with their daily life. So it is really wonderful. And I must say, because we are receiving so many responses through this session, I will include all these questions at the last of this session. So please continue. We have enough time to listen you.
Yeah, it's class 3 actually, EVS, Flying High. And we have integrated that with art, craft. You can see math is also there. There is a measurement of feather done by a child. We integrated that with language. We used even puppetry into that, and then awareness through dramas and plays. And then there was a painting done, and all that was included in our book that was released. All work done by the students and all collections done by the students. And they made a lot of things like bird houses, bird nests. They collected a lot of things like bird eggs and bird toys, bird books, lots of things, and even stamps. Some people had stamps with the theme of birds. So that was also collected. So all that went into the exhibitions. The exhibition was a grand success, and the project was also a grand success. And that was published in the Hindu Young World of 2010, April 24th. We were happy to see the news published about our project in the Young World, the Hindu Young World. Now, all the things that I had done in the past and the current project helped me win the National ICT Award of 2010. So 2010, I think it was the first year of inception of the National ICT Awards. and I received, along with the other teachers who were also selected for the National ICT Award, and by the then President of India, late Shri Pranab Mukherjee. So here you can see, and my work, in very brief, my name and my work was published by IGNO in a course book for teachers. And the most happiest moment for me was I was also enrolled in the course. And one fine day, when I was just going through the books which we were given for learning and for going through while doing the course, I saw my name and my work published by IGNO. And the source was actually the MHRD, which had given our work and our name. And then the following year, the same project got the Intel Technology in Education Award, and the work in detail was published by Intel in their coffee table book. So you can see the font might not be clear to you; it's too small. I have just taken the pictures of the pages that published my project in detail. It showed the aim, the classes it was intended to, the objectives with which the project was started, and the activities we did, and the extension of activities beyond our classroom, how it was integrated with other subjects, and what was the suggestions given by the students in order to curb the decrease in the number of birds all across the world. So this was the next achievement that we had, getting the Intel Awards for innovative use of technology in education. Then came the British Council Awards. Now this time, whatever I knew, whatever I learned about the project-based learning, it was implemented in the entire school. And for British Council, it was the International School Project. It was not an individual project. So this was done by the entire school. And we had to select about 7 topics. You can see the topics that are written on the screen. And we had to work collaboratively on these projects. The entire school had to take part. This project had collaboration with Singapore, Russia, and United States, and a lot of work was done on it. You can see that there was an exhibition on kites. It was there, and then flags of different countries, newspapers of different countries. We could get the original newspapers printed, not anything taken from the internet. We could get some real newspapers of different kind from more than 100 countries. Then we were seeing what kind of articles goes into these, and the language in which they are published, and which country published what language. So a lot of work was done in collaboration with people of different countries, and that helped us bag the International School Award, which was for the year 2012 to 2015. So my project-based learning actually helped my school also to get an International School Award. But of course, with the help of other teachers who were also involved in this collaborative project. Then the year was 2018, and I started a project. This was my individual project, and the title of the project was For the Joy of Reading. Now, what I found, why I started this project was because I found that in class 3, some of the students, in spite of reaching class 3, they were not able to read. And so I thought of starting this project in order to help them read, help them develop the skill of reading. And what I found was these children were not able to read, not because they had any kind of reading disability, it's because they were having some difficulty. So in order to overcome that difficulty, what I did was I recreated the textbooks into comics. And so the comics was, seeing comic was, the children were happy to see the comics. When the comics were recreated, when the textbook was recreated into comics, it helped in easy reading with comprehension and reading with understanding. And the comics.
This was the era in life when we are not going towards the books, but comics attracted.
Yes.
So you have played a good game between the comics and the books.
Yes.
Wonderful.
I remember when I was a small child, I was attracted towards the comics like
right.
Tinkle and Amar Chitra.
We all are. I think Chacha Chaudhary was the comics.
Chacha Chaudhary.
Sabu we have seen, right?
Yes, Chacha Chaudhary. Yes. So these days children don't get comics in their hand.
Right.
Even Tintin and Asterix was also one of my favorites. Tintin especially, I used to like the illustrations drawn on that, and Asterix also was really one of my favorites. So I am good at illustration, not an expert in drawing, but still I use my a bit of my skill that I had in creating comics. And I found that it was really helpful for children. As I said, comics attracted children and it helped them to read with understanding and comprehension too. Now, during this project, I also helped the children to create comics of their own, and they use their way of illustration. I did digital illustration, but these children, they tried doing it on paper, not the digital one, but it helped create comics, and I taught them how to actually go about creating comics. And while doing so, I also taught them some indigenous art forms like Varli paintings, Madhubani ones, and that also helped in creating comics. Now, yeah, these are a few illustrations, digital illustrations, and what you see a comic there is the one made by a child. And now this project of mine helped me win the Innovation and Experimentation Award for the year 2018. And here I used ICT to create digital illustrations and creation of comics. So you can see that, right from the beginning, small steps taken has led to big leaps. Now, the ICT, which was integrated in a smaller way, now the amount of ICT that I was integrating was actually, the graph was going high, and I was using more and more of ICT in order to, make my work easy actually, while doing this project-based learning. And then the year was 2020. I started this project, Our Food Choices. Now, this project was started by me while I was visiting a school in Arizona during my visit to the US as a Fulbright Fellow. Now, it's a collaborative project that includes Fulbright scholars from other countries who have taken interest in collaborating with their school students. Now, this was done in a small way because then the country and the world was hit with COVID, and we were not allowed to go to the school anymore, and the children were not coming to the school. But still, whatever time I had in the US, I could bring about a collaborative learning on the topic. About how the food that we eat has an impact on the health as well as on the environment. So if we want a better health, we should change our food choices. And if we don't want it to have an impact on the environment, we should have better food choices. I think there is some kind of disturbance there, and I can hear those disturbances of sound. Okay. All right, so here again, the collaborative project with the students there, and you can see some more pictures of that, and the students learning. They were actually happy to work with some teaching learning materials in their hand. They are so much used to seeing things online and seeing things all digital. So when they had something in their hand with sticky notes and some kind of teaching learning material, they were happy to actually use all of that and work with that. Now, coming to the next one, and this is what I want the viewers to understand, that how we can use ICT into our project. Now, this is a mind map which I have just drawn. The slide says it all. I use ICT extensively in project-based learning, sharing and collaboration, virtual tours, formative and summative assessments. You can see data collection, documentation, communication, customizing my search, digital illustrations for editing and duplicating, whatnot. You can use ICT in so many multiple ways. Now, one thing I would like to add into that is technology helps as a catalyst. It totally depends on the creativity of the teacher. No technology can replace a creative teacher. Technology on one side, how do we use that tool? It depends completely on the creativity of the teacher. The more creative the teacher is, the better use of technology. Now, for all the work done in the past and the present, I was given the Fulbright Distinguished Awards in Teaching Programs in the year 2020. And it was meant for international teachers. And I was one of the members of the cohort formed at the Arizona State University for the spring semester. So I was fortunate to have an international award for all the work done. It is not a project or whatever way we as a teacher has helped the students to have an experiential learning and making their learning more engaging and real. For all that work done put together, I was given the Fulbright Distinguished Awards in the year 2020. I was also fortunate to be a part of two exchange programs. One was 2016 Teacher Exchange with Japan. The second one was the Fulbright Teacher Exchange of 2020. I had an opportunity to interact with some international teachers, understand their educational system in countries, and work with them. So I have a few teachers who are still collaborating on some projects which I have undertaken, and right now they are still in the offing. I mean, it's going on, it's not yet done, and so I cannot explain about that. So these are a few certificates which I have received during the exchange program. And I also received, like all other Fulbright scholars, we received a certificate and a letter from the then President of the United States, that is Mr. Donald Trump, as well. Okay, so here is the collaborative project which we are actually doing it right now. It's not completed. And here you can see there are teachers, and these are all Fulbright scholars from countries like Philippines, Indonesia, and Greece. And I also have two faculty members from Arizona State University collaborating into my project that we are actually doing it right now. Now, a brief of my career highlights. All these projects and recognition has helped me to get some major achievements in my career. It's all because of the out-of-the-box thinking and a little bit of creativity. And as I said, no technology can replace a creative teacher. A creative teacher can use technology in whichever way the teacher wants, in the most creative manner. So think differently, and you don't have to run behind excellence. Your work speaks for itself, and you would be recognized for all the outstanding work that you do in life. How has it transformed? It has refined the teacher in me. I share my best practices wherever I go. I share my innovative practices which I have done, the projects that I do. I connect and collaborate with some enterprising teachers in the nation as well as internationally. I know a few teachers who've been doing outstanding work in their own fields. And once you are ICT awardee, like some people would ask that what after? Like after you get recognition, what the work doesn't stop there. I guess the responsibilities increases more. And once you are an ICT awardee, you are a member of the core group. You get invitation at the national level for all national level workshops, seminars, conferences, any events. Like I remember I was invited for the Digital India Week launch to the Vigyan Bhavan at Delhi. So that is how it changes. You get recognized everywhere. I was also fortunate to be a resource person of a teacher training program in KVS, that is in-service courses, and also CIET gave me twice the chance to be a speaker on a webinar. The first one was creating digital portfolios using Bulb app, and the second one was creating digital interactive notebooks using Slides Mania. So again, I'm so thankful to CIET for giving me an opportunity to be speakers for these two webinars. Now coming to the end of it, how do I make use of these tools in order to make my student learning experiential, engaging, and joyful? I'm going to just give some examples, or very few examples, of how interactive tools or how ICT tools can actually make your classroom learning more experiential, engaging, and joyful. And this is the first one. This is one of my favorites. I am showing you. I hope you recognize it is Google Jamboard. Yeah, I do a lot of collaborative learning, and Jamboard is one of my favorite tools which I use quite often in my class, dividing it into groups, making the children work in groups collaboratively. And this is how you can see that they're working on mind maps, each one of them individually on their own frames. And towards the end, once they create, when it is done, it looks something like this. So this works on the principles of constructivism. You can see what I knew and what I learned and what my teachers have taught me. So these sticky notes with the different colors makes a difference, and it tells how exactly the child has learned. It can be done individually or it can be done in groups. So this is collaborative learning using Google Jamboard. So this is one way of bringing in experiential and engaging activity among your students in the classroom. Now, second method is filmmaking can be done. This one, though it did not win any prize, we had actually participated in the 25th All India Children's Educational Film Festival, and the film was mainly on how to conserve water. and the title of the film was Drop by Drop, the Water in My Tap. And now this was again done by the class 3 students, and they gave ways of water conservation, also showed the places where the water get lost without anybody knowing, and what are the simple ways by which we can save water. Now here are some more snippets which I have just added in order to show that how water can be conserved and the work done by students. Students are actually involved into it. So there is a lot of experiential learning that goes behind it, and the students are not passive learners, they are active listeners, active learners in your class. So this is just a poster which I'm just displaying. We don't have time, otherwise I would have shown the film which we had made. Now this other method of doing is, another way is experiments. Now some people might think that because we are not sitting face to face, how can we do experiments? Now experiments can be done. One day you can just explain how to set an experiment, and after a few days we can actually show or we can share what are the result findings. Now here you can see the growth of bread mold, in what condition it increases more and in what conditions it is not, like it does not grow at all. So here research findings or experiment findings can be shared among students. So this can be one method of experiential learning. Here again, you can see that it's a science experiment done on conditions of seed germination, in what conditions the plants grow really well and in what it does not. So here you can see that the students are explaining their findings, what they have seen, they are sharing it. And it becomes a learning activity for all the children when they collaborate. What I have not observed, maybe my friend would have observed, and I learned from the other. So children learn from each other when we do give these kind of activities on a daily basis, even during remote learning. So it is a wrong notion people have that online classes children do not learn. It's not like that. It's totally up to the teacher how well you engage the students for experiential and real learning.
Agreed.
We can also have hands-on activities, like simple activities like floating or sinking, soluble or insoluble. This you can see every child had materials for their hands-on activity, and they went about doing the activity and they shared their findings. And it was really interesting to see different things. Like for example, if I had a knife with me, and if I'm showing, I can also say that sharp objects should not be included in the activity. And if I have a pencil with me, whether it floats or sinks, maybe the other child might not have, or an eraser or a sharpener. So this kind of collaborative learning can also happen in an online class. Now as a teacher, we like to teach and teach. Instead of we teaching, we can give responsibility to the students. It helps enhance the student advocacy. Now here, the student engagement activity, I have made the students teach, rather me teaching. So here there's a lesson in class 5 on Golconda Fort. The students have done the research, they have made the presentation in groups, and they are explaining what it is famous for and who has built it. You can see it was ruled by, and the different characteristic features that they found in the Golconda Fort located at Hyderabad. Now another tool that I use very often is Padlet. Padlet is again a very simple tool which can be used by children for sharing their ideas, for collaboration, for collaborative learning. And here again there is water conservation idea was given, and they also shot pictures of their own to show where are the places where water would get wasted, and they have shared their posters for water, saving water and water conservation. We can also use interactives during our daily classes. Like here I have used Google Slides for mix and match activity, drag and drop activity. This can be given as a collaborative learning. It can be given in group, or it can be given as an individual activity wherein the students would mix and match what they have learned. So interactives could be another great way of learning. Now here video watch, again you can integrate a video into your class and not just watch, observe, listen and comprehend. So the skills of observation, listening and comprehension can take place here. Immediately after the video watch, they can be given a questionnaire wherein they would have to answer all what they have observed. So very quickly, let me go to the next one. It's a virtual exhibition that we conducted in the school. Like last year, we had the toy exhibition, which was launched in a grand way at the national level. So we had the preliminary rounds in our own schools. We had virtual exhibition. Nobody would have ever thought of an exhibition virtually. And now this happened with the small children. They exhibited their own toys. They created their own toys. more indigenous ones, and then they explained about how they can play and learn using these toys. We can also have hands-on activities by using art into the daily lessons. Art integrated activities can be performed during online learning, and they can have an exhibition of what they have created. Now here, quizzing and gaming is also a very common way of learning these days. Now here, for quizzing, I have used Kahoot. Quizzing is a very simple tool for using in the daily class. We can have for quizzing, and for gaming, I have used Jamboard. Jamboard is not a tool for gaming, but then you can think of some creative ways of using Jamboard, and Jamboard is used here for gaming. So gaming and quizzing, one thing which children would really like, would love to have under joyful learning. And this again is a very nice way of teaching, and that is puppet shows. I have created finger puppets, and I've used it in the class in order to bring in some kind of, joyful learning. And it was a story of a boy named Chintu during COVID times, how his family changed during COVID times, how he had to shift from Bangalore to Kerala. It happened really. And so I just created a kind of narration with that and created and showed it to my students, and my students really loved it. So this is another way of making your classroom very interactive and lively. If you do not know how to create puppets of your own, you can share it from the internet. So again, there's an integration of ICT. You can integrate that into your classrooms with the ready-made ones. If you can also pay a visit to your friends or to your neighboring schools or to some schools. Now here I have made a visit to the school that I was in and the students that I had taught during my visit there. And you can also invite visitors into your class. So that can also be a ICT can be used for a virtual kind of class, virtual visitors can come virtually into your class, and they can interact with the students. And here the person who has come is showing how she saved a bird. So these are the ways we can, actually bring in a lot of activities into our classroom. Even during COVID times, even during remote learning, we usually restrict our thinking. I think our thinking should be so diverse that we should find creative ways of incorporating ICT into our classrooms, even during remote learning. And so there are so many strategies that you can adopt in order to have active learning. And these are some of the ways which I keep my classes, more interactive and lively and experiential and joyful for my students. So these are just suggestive ways. These are not, these are not the end. You can think your own ways of having an interactive class. You can bring about map work. You can bring about comparison, collaboration, analysis. You can ask the students to shoot a video, draw posters. You can go for a virtual tour. You can take different tools that are available online in order to make your classroom more experiential, engaging, and joyful. Last but not the least, this is my favorite quote, which I would like to show, that it was said by Socrates: I cannot teach anybody anything, I can only make them think. If I'm able to make my students think creatively, logically, think wisely, I guess I am a successful teacher. So I end my presentation with this. Thank you so much for all the patience. So by the end of this, you would have seen the way I use technology. I use it for designing my lessons, planning activities, make interactive presentations, adopt effective instructional strategies for assessments, and to customize them as per the needs of the students. ICT has influenced me in always the way I work, the way I organize, the way I plan, execute, all have an ICT influence on it. And believe me, it has made my life simpler. It has made my life easier than without ICT. So that's all about my ICT journey. Thank you so much, Rahul, for the patience listening. And
no, this is not my patience, this is my interest actually. And I'm listening, in this session actively. I am an active listener in this session, and I know I have pointed out all these things because I have received so many questions, but we have hardly 3-4 minutes to include all, 2-3 I've tried. So Anita sent a question that how can I connect with ThinkQuest if they something started like this?
ThinkQuest, as I guess you have missed that point, it got closed by 2013. So that is why you would have seen that after that I did not mention about ThinkQuest. The last international competition that came for ThinkQuest was, I think, 2013. After that it was closed.
So yeah. Anita, better luck, you can create something new. If ThinkQuest is closed, no worries. You may have so many options, as rightly mentioned by Ms. Jacob. There is no hard way. This is not a hard and fast rule. Napoleon Hill once said, "A goal is a dream. A goal is a dream with a deadline." So, आपने कोई deadline set किया हुआ है? Do you have any more dreams in this education field so that you may do something better, then better, then better?
I don't have any, a target that I see like 10 years after. No, I live for the day. Aaj ka kaam. What is today's target? I do with that. Because kal ka kya hoga, we don't know. We don't really know what would happen tomorrow. So let me live my life to the best way today as much as possible.
Right.
What I planned for today, and I'm happy with that, and I'm happy if I'm able to do what I have planned for the day. And long-term goals I don't keep. I don't know what would be because I had never thought that I would reach this stage. I had never thought ever in my life that I would be going about winning so many prizes and all those kind of things. I would be doing so much of it with ICT. I had never thought that I would be a computer freak and all those things. No, I had never thought that. Yes.
Wonderfully explained. Thank you very much. And one last question. How would you select your softwares? Mohini Sarkar sent this question because I have seen all your webinars in the past.
How do I select? I see the ones which are very, very simple for me to understand and for the audience to understand.
Right.
Thank you for saying that you have seen all my past tools. I see to it that the tools are very, very simple. Real hard ones which I am not able to comprehend, how would I recommend others to use? So I would prefer the ones which I am able to understand well, learn well. I would want others to learn well too. Because I am dealing with very small children, I learn with my students. I learn from them and they learn from me. So when I take a tool, I really don't know how it will behave in an online class. So what I do is I share that tool with my students, and I get to learn from them and they get to learn from me. We see how the tool behaves in an online class. Sometimes, just going by theory, it doesn't work. You have to really see how it works practically. So use a tool which is friendly to use, which doesn't create a lot of complication, easy to learn.
Right. Easy to learn and easy to use is the mandatory thing to, selection for the software. If I say something like this, because I'm not an expert, you are the expert and you are actually our hero who explore the things for us, who makes things easy for us. Because after usage of all these softwares, I can say one thing, that our content will be very much interactive, interesting, and easy to keep and easy to display everyone. So this is really, really wonderful to know your journey, to know about you, to talk to you, and I can show something to you. You will be very happy that my wallet has something to show you. I think these are the stamps you can see in my hand. I keep this in my wallet. If you can see.
No, I don't see.
I think it is very little ones on this screen, because I can say I keep these things. I really wonderful, and I can connect with them. The pictures you have shared with us initially. How did you start these things? So it is really, really wonderful, and I think we must have so many teachers like you, those who are doing so many things for us to make our children's life easy. Thank you very much for joining with us. This is really, really a wonderful session. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. My pleasure. Thank you.
So this webinar session comes to an end now. This is really a wonderful session. You can watch this later on NCERT's official YouTube channel. It will be saved. So I would like to conclude this session here on a happy note, and please stay with us, because we will be right back with the next session of Sahyog, in which we talk about mental well-being, and today's topic is nurturing a healthy relationship with self. So don't go away. Keep watching Pradhan Mantri eVidya channels. Namaskar.